Okay, Travis Wayne Goodsell, I would have thought that the news would have okay. I would have thought that the news wouldn't be covered today. That they would be on vacation and there would just be filler shows. But I'm concerned because Nicole Wallace has already been on, and Ali Velshi has been on, and now Chuck Todd's on, and looking at the TV guide, it's also indicating Chris and Rachel will be on tonight. So maybe my hopes for a Christmas Eve celebration will be postponed. So yeah, Trump's all alone. But yeah, I need to make sure that I don't miss any of the breaking news, because if you don't understand why, Trump is the fulfillment of Scripture, people. He is the beast. And Mormons, we'll do that video, because I came up with another one, so I'm not going to get to the history today. Because I still have the One Mighty and Strong to do. So yeah, Mormons are still supporting Trump, and it's so sad. I mean, there's a guy who has been keeping track of each and every single lie of Trump, and he's not just making it up, he's documenting it. He's got all the recordings, all the tweets, all the speeches. He's covering everything, and it's well over 6,000 lies, and that, I think, is just for this year. He was just on Nicole's show talking about it at the beginning, so I'm not exactly sure if it was for this year. I'm thinking it's the whole thing, because he's been increasing this year. This year he started picking up pace, and it's lie after lie after lie after lie after lie after lie. And they were discussing, why are Trump supporters believing Trump's lies? Democrats don't get it, and it's not because they're Democrat. No, he's actually lying. Former Republicans don't lie like this. This is an anomaly, and so yeah, Mormons are believing it. Yes, Mormons. The other day, my former home teachers came by to visit, and they gave me a little bag of fruit and candy. And Sister Warner, she was the one who, when I would talk about what Trump is doing, and when I would talk about the prophecies of Scripture about what's going to happen, she was the one who believed me. Keith Warner never believed. He just placated me. Oh yeah, okay, Travis, whatever. The whole time he listens to Fox, so he doesn't hear what Trump is doing. He doesn't know, because they cover for Trump. It's Trump TV. And he doesn't get it, just like Mormons, because apparently they're watching Fox News rather than NBC, which is the church-owned channel here in Utah anyway. The Bonneville Communications owns the local NBC channel, and that's why they are asking for more money from DirecTV, so that DirecTV can cover the local channel of NBC, which has SNL, which is very critical of Trump. So you can see how the church is messing around to silence people, to get more money out of it if they're going to get away with things. And it's just wrong, Mormons. And again, Mormons are bullies. Just look at my posts, my videos. You see the thumbs down. See, that's bullying, Mormons. You are in the wrong when you are bullying. You're not supposed to do it. That's against your church. At least in writing and practice, the leaders encourage it. And yet, I did a video on Mormon cyberbullying, and guess what? Within just a few hours, there's already 1 thumbs down. That's the Mormon bully. See, because nobody else is going to bother. They're not going to be Christians or Jews coming to my video channel and saying, hey, you can't talk about the Mormons that way. Thumbs down. No, it's Mormons that are doing this. Mormons are bullies. And they don't see it. They think they're in the right. They think they're protecting the church by being bad. Doing the wrong, thinking that it equals being right. It's just mind-boggling, mind-blowing. Man, Mormons, cut it out. You're in a losing battle. You're down to 3 million members. The church won't let you go unless you tell them that you want to be let go. So they just say, oh yeah, 16 million. Yeah, we're strong. We're fine. Yeah, that's why you're cutting back and cutting corners and funneling laundered money through your LLCs. Yeah, I'm sure you're not financially hurting being down to 3 million members. It's just unbelievable. And like I said, oh, I didn't say. Sister Warner, she says, after I'm telling her all this about Trump, she then says, yeah, but what about Hillary? She's just as bad. Unbelievable. She was on my side. She knew that Trump was bad. And now she is pulling the Republican propaganda machine of blame casting to distract from Trump. Do you Mormons not get it? Trump separates families. He's immoral. He's an adulterer. Not just immoral, but an adulterer. He's also guilty of murder now. He steals. You know, we can go through the 10 Commandments probably. You know, he doesn't care about religion. He's a horrible person. The new guy who's coming in to be his chief of staff said he doesn't want his boys learning from Trump. He thinks Trump is a horrible person. They've got that on video. I bet you're not watching that on Fox, because every other news channel is covering it. So it's unbelievable, Mormons. He is the beast of John the Revelator in Revelation 13. And you are still siding with him. Let's go to the scriptures, shall we? Your scriptures, not the Bible scriptures, because you don't believe in the Bible. It's not translated correctly unless it applies to what I want to have accomplished. God, Mormons, stop. Okay, section 43. Do I need to go over Jesus saying that there will be false Christs and false priests or prophets in the latter days who will deceive, if possible, the very elect? You believe you're the very elect. Who Which other religion has prophets that can be true and false? Oh, well, Christians have their leaders of their congregations. They're not a prophet. They never claim to be prophets. The Pope, he doesn't claim to be a prophet. Everybody says, well, he's the vicar of God, he speaks for God. He's only the status of a bishop. So which religion has prophets? Yours! Who do you think Jesus was talking about? The Mormon Church? No! We have Jesus in our name. We draw near to him with our lips, but our hearts are far from him. Isaiah, remember that? That's why Joseph was told, don't join any church. They draw near to me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. And they do actions contrary to my law of love. Mormons. Okay, so section 43. Hearken, O ye elders of my church. O hearken, ye elders of my church, and give ear to the words which I shall speak unto you. For behold, verily, verily, I say unto you, that ye have received a commandment for a law unto my church, through him, Joseph Smith, whom I have appointed unto you to receive commandments and revelations from my hand. Only the president of the church can receive revelations and commandments, not the apostles at a fireside where they tell the youth, do not hang out with someone of the opposite sex. He cannot give commandments to you. Any prophet who does that, who pulls that stunt on you, is out of line. Any stake president who pulls that on you, out of line. Any bishop who pulls that on you, out of line. You don't have to listen to them. And this ye shall know assuredly, that there is none other appointed unto you to receive commandments and revelations until he be taken, if he abide in me. None other. Not your bishop, not your home teacher, not your stake president, not your elders quorum president, not your Relief Society president, not a member of the 70, not a member of the apostles, not the first and second counselor. None other. How is that not clear to you, Mormons? Yet you have all these standards of the church that were created through Mormon myths that are derived from someone other than the president of the church. Caffeine, for example. No president of the church has ever said it. It's not a commandment. So cut it out. All right, and so, yeah, unless somebody else is appointed in his stead. A successor. But Joseph Smith never assigned a successor. So he died having no legitimate succession. So Brigham Young, no, sorry, Nevertheless, and notwithstanding, we'll just assume that the Brighamite branch is legitimate. This is still your commandment. Okay, and here's why, Mormons. This is why it is so important not to listen to anybody else. And you can say, well, we're not going to listen to you, Travis. What am I doing? I am pointing to your scriptures whom you're supposed to listen to. And why? And this I give unto you, that ye may not be deceived. Where have we heard that? Right, the words of Jesus about the last days. There will be false Christs and false prophets who will try to deceive you. In the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, there will be false false Christs and false prophets in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints who will try to deceive you. This is how they will deceive you. They will give you revelations. They will give you commandments. They will order you to obey them. Your scriptures are not complicated. Your gospel is not complicated. You know, Christians, they don't believe this. They don't understand any of this. So I don't expect them, if they come onto this site, to understand what I'm talking about. But you Mormons know this. You understand it. And yet you go on trusting Trump. Remember, Joseph Smith prophesied that the Constitution would hang by a thread. The Constitution that he says was divinely inspired by God will hang by a thread. That's why I pay attention to the news. Because we are in that time period of the fulfillment of last days prophecy. Trump has shredded the Constitution. He lies. He commits crimes within his tweets. Crimes. A president of the United States is blaspheming. Just like John said, the beast will blaspheme. Crime is not a crime. Reality is not real. And so, yeah, Mormons, I don't get it. The remaining 3 million of you, I don't get it. I don't understand why you can hold on to an obvious evil enemy of God. See, for evangelicals, I can sort of understand because they want to bring on Armageddon. Because they think Jesus will appear if we can destroy the earth, and that he'll magically appear and save everybody. And that the evangelicals, who are the cause of trying to destroy the earth in order for Jesus to appear, will then be raptured, and all will be forgiven because they believe. See, I can sort of understand that. It's not logical, but I can understand it. Mormons, I was born and raised Mormon. My parents, born and raised Mormon. And I don't get you. You are not the people that it's just mind-boggling to me. You guys are just like Trump. You're illiterate. You know, I'm going over Moroni 10, 3 through 5. You're taking out words. You're changing definitions. That's what illiterate people do. It just blows my mind. You're doing exactly what Brigham Young did. You're creating a different God. And I don't get it. And yes, did you know that that was a prophecy also, creating a different God? Section 1. Hold on to your hats. We'll start it in 13. The anger of the Lord is kindled, and his sword is bathed in heaven, and it shall fall upon the inhabitants of the earth. And the arm of the Lord shall be revealed, and the day cometh that they who will not hear the voice of the Lord, neither the voice of his servants, neither give heed to the words of the prophets and apostles, shall be cut off from among the people. Remember, this was before Joseph was murdered. This was before Brigham Young kidnapped pioneers to follow him. He was not the legitimate person. I've got the video on it. So don't bully me. And here it is, 15. This is who he's talking about. You know, these are the people who will be cut off from among the people. Cut off means excommunicated. Verse 15, this is who he's talking about. For they, it's a pronoun, so we don't know yet, have strayed from mine ordinances, and have broken mine everlasting covenant. There it is. It's you. No other people, other than those in God's church, stray from his ordinances. They're not baptized. They haven't started in the process of the ordinances. They don't have them. You can't stray from the ordinances if you don't get them first. These are people who have had the ordinances, who have had the everlasting covenant, and they strayed and they broke it. They violated it. Okay, not yet. And here he goes. He's going after you guys. They, Mormons, in the latter days, seek not the Lord to establish his righteousness, but every man, Mormon, walketh in his own way, after the image of his own God. There it is. You're creating your own gods, just as it's prophesied you would do. Whose likeness is in the image of the likeness of the world, whose image is in the likeness of the world, and whose substance is that of an idol, which waxeth old and perisheth in Babylon, even Babylon the Great, which shall fall. Ooh, because this is huge. You don't get this, do you? Babylon has already fallen. Millennia ago. Remember, Persia took over Babylon. So, who's the Babylon that Joseph Smith is referring to? Give you a hint. The nation has a Babylonian statue idol out in the waters of the East Coast. Pause for effect. Yeah, the Statue of Liberty, the designer designed the Statue of Liberty after the Babylonian goddess Ishtar, which in Hebrew is Esther. See, the book of Esther is about the book of Ishtar. It's just a Jew wrote it and changed it around to make it apply to Jews. Or in this, it was actually Israelites, the northern kingdom. But, yeah. It's the United States that Joseph Smith is saying is Babylon. Even the United States the Great, which shall fall. Joseph Smith said the Constitution would hang by a thread, and he also said the federal government will be gone. We have a shutdown right now. We have a stalemate. Trump will not allow Congress to control him as Emperor of the United States. He won't allow it. He knows he's got prison waiting for him if he ever gives up and gives in and gets out. And we've got people who have shredded the Constitution that they will not take out a president who is violating the laws, who has betrayed our country to a foreign enemy who's attacking us. Mormons, you've been deceived. And you're following Trump, the beast of John. John also talks about a false prophet. If Babylon is where the beast is, and where the false prophet is, and that Babylon is the United States, it's that simple. And how do I know? You don't know when, because nobody knows the day or the hour of the Lord's coming. John gave us the date. Chapter 12, he tells us the dates to look forward to by the signs that he gives that will appear in the heavens. No, I'm not wearing the shirt. But I've gone over that. I've got a video about all the signs of the second coming. They've all happened. This is it, people. That's how I knew this was it, because the signs happened. It didn't happen during World War II. Didn't happen during the Cuban Missile Crisis. Didn't happen during the Vietnam War, the North Korean War, or the Korean War. It didn't happen during Operation Desert Storm. I was on my mission during that one. I was in Connecticut at the time, and we went to see one of the wealthy members of the New Canaan ward, built by the funding of the rich members of New Canaan. At that time, they were the second wealthiest nation, or the second wealthiest city in the nation, per capita, I guess. So the members who were rich paid to have a brick church. Nice brick. Expensive brick. And then they thought, hey, we paid for it. We want it exclusive to us. And the church said, no, we're mixing you with poor people from that town next to you. So the church did something right there, but it was a stake president who did it, actually. So they thought they could bribe their way in, and the stake president knocked them down. But we were at his mansion, and we had just come from looking at his backyard with tennis courts and all this other fun stuff, and he gets a phone call, and he's having to talk to the guy on the phone, and he's involved in a company that deals with stock trading, and it was a co-worker who called in a panic. Is this the end of the world? Are we all going to die? Do we need to sell our stock? What do we do? And the Mormon said, no, don't sell the stock. This is not the end of the world. And blah, blah, blah. And you know, had to make sure that his business didn't go to pot over this incident over in Desert Storm. And then he told us about it. And then he told us about how you can be a millionaire too, just by reading the Book of Mormon. Oh, wow, okay. I want to be a millionaire. Oh, man. I've now come to learn that you can be a millionaire by following the corrupt examples in the Book of Mormon. All the rich people in the United States and throughout the world are corrupt or rich because of their corruptness. That's how you get rich, is being corrupt, stealing from other people to step on their toes, get ahead, and survival of the fittest, and blah, blah, blah. Death match, economic death match. There's a TV series, $1 Million Idea. So, yeah. Oh, man. Now we've got Ari Melber. So, yeah, he sometimes can have some good stuff. And interviews Roger Stone, associate. Okay, so he's probably doing flashbacks because he already interviewed that guy. Corsi or something like that. So, come on, Mormons. Quit arguing with me. Quit bullying me. Wake up. This is it. This is what your parents gave up on because it didn't happen in their generation. This is what your grandparents gave up on because it didn't happen in their generation. It's now. It's our generation. Dump Trump. There you go, dump Trump. That's probably already a meme, but whatever. And so, you guys should know better. Trump is not a good person. He's a beast, literally. An amoral, immoral beast. You don't follow corrupt leaders. But yet, notice Utah government leaders. Their governor, Herbert. I emailed him when I first learned about the crisis at the border. And I was concerned because Trump was ordering the troops, the National Guard, to the border. So I emailed him saying, hey, I don't want you guys sending troops to the border. You need to protest with these other states that are protesting, defying Trump's orders. With with the second time around, Herbert, I found out, actually has sent the National Guard. So he didn't send them the first time around, but he's since sent them. He is aiding and abetting Trump in criminal behavior. Utah government. And then you have the church interfering with the medical marijuana. Again, interfering, violating our rights to life. Medical marijuana is for medical conditions. It is not recreational. But the church interfered with the vote of the people. And then now, General Mattis resigns. He did the right thing. I've had it with this guy. He's not listening to me. He's giving up countries to Putin. He is putting our nation in jeopardy. So he quits and says, I will remove myself from office at the end of February. And then Trump says, oh yeah, you're fired. You're out at the end of the year. And now he put in the guy who's working on the Space Force. A Space Force. Really? Military knows you do not justify doing wrong by saying I'm under orders. They have whistleblower programs now for businesses, for the military. When you are given an unjust, corrupt order, you are duty-bound to refuse. To step down, to leave, to quit. Duty-bound. Yet here we have the military going to the border. They're all compliant. And ICE is compliant. Border Patrol, compliant. Police, compliant. Our whole armed forces are compliant with corrupt orders from a corrupt leader. This is the worst case scenario, and Mormons don't see it. You have been fooled by the propaganda of Fox. You've been deceived. Even the elect shall be deceived. You've been deceived. And it's the end of the world. It's too late now. The other video I did is about the ark. It's closing its doors now. The storm is all over the place. It's time to shut the doors. And you don't even have fruit on your tree because you haven't planted it. Because you believe the interpretation of Moroni 3:5 is that all you need is to read, ponder, and receive the seed from the Holy Ghost. And that seed is fruit. That you don't have to plant the seed. You don't have to fact check what the Spirit tells you. You don't have to fact check what any of the leaders tell you. The leaders of the church. You don't have to fact check the scriptures. You get the seed and you say, that's enough. I've got it. I now know. That's regurgitation knowledge. Like the video I did about information Mormons, intelligent Mormons, I think is what the title was. But it's about regurgitation learning versus actual learning, obtaining actual knowledge, obtaining actual truth. The Book of Mormon tells you how to get truth, and it doesn't come easy by just a revelation. Therefore, hey, I've got truth. You've got to prove it. You've got to replicate it. But you've all been fooled. You've all been deceived. And I had a video on that about that too. Mormons, elect Mormons have been deceived, something like that. So, you can't ignore me, Mormons. You can't bully me. Because you, in your theology, believe you will stand before God and have to account for your life. If you honestly believe that, do you honestly believe God will say, come on in, you died and didn't establish the kingdom of God, come on in. There's no joy in committing wickedness. No unclean thing can enter the kingdom of heaven. You can't get in. You've been deceived. Because it's not God's church, it's Lucifer's church. Lucifer doesn't want you in God's kingdom. That's why you've been deceived by false prophets. And then I'll talk about the one mighty and strong as to how to resolve this 43 dilemma, section 43 dilemma. Because how are you supposed to listen to prophets and apostles if they're all false? The one mighty and strong is God's answer. So we'll do that next.